Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I take and edit my makeup selfies. Now, before we get any further, the first thing you have to do is subscribe to my channel. I promise I'm going to be more consistent, especially through this summer and hopefully the rest of 2020. But I would really appreciate it if you subscribed and turned on the bell notification button. Great, so of course, if we're taking makeup selfies today, the first step in all of this is to do your makeup. So I'm gonna quickly just do my makeup. I'm gonna do that a little bit on camera, a little bit off camera. I'll show you guys some highlights, but for the most part, I don't necessarily do my makeup any different when I am specifically doing it for the purpose of taking a selfie. What I do, however, is use specific products. So my recommendations for foundation are, for example, Lancome Teint Idole, Fenty Hydrating Foundation, Estee Lauder Double Wear, Pat McGrath Foundation, and the Too Faced Born This Way Foundation. For concealers, I normally stick with things like Tarte Shape Tape or the Born This Way concealer, sometimes the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer. For contour, whatever really works for you is fine. That's going to be, for me, that's the Makeup Evolution foundation stick that I use as a contour in the deepest shade, and of course, a fan favorite, the Fenty Match Sticks in Espresso. All right, so as you can see, this is the final look. And the next step after doing your makeup is finding natural lighting. So a bit about natural lighting, that's really gonna give you the optimal results that you're looking for. It's gonna make your skin look the clearest, your makeup look the smoothest, all of the above. But it's not necessarily as easy as finding sunlight. So what I would say is, one, finding sunlight is obviously important, and for that you might have to go outside, and that could be as close as stepping right outside your doorstep. If you're lucky, you might have really great natural lighting inside of your apartment or your house or your room or wherever you're taking this picture from. If that's the case, congrats. Now the next step is to wait for the perfect timing. The sun pretty much is at the top of the sky from the hours of about 12 to 3. And really what that means is it's really hard to get selfies because you're gonna be angling your phone right in front of the sun to get the best results. And if the sun is at the top of the sky, you're gonna be leaning back like this to get a selfie, and that's going to not only be uncomfortable, but it's also going to not really be taken from the best angle. So what I suggest is taking your picture at like golden hour, which might be from 4 to 7 depending on what time the sun sets where you are, or taking it first thing in the morning from pretty much anywhere from sunrise until I would say 10, maybe 11 if you are really good at angling your phone to be in front of the sun. That being said, it's also really important that you make sure you're taking this picture where there is crystal clear sunlight. A lot of times on partly cloudy days, I've tried to take pictures thinking, oh, it's bright enough, but bright outside is not the same as sunlight. So you really want to make sure that you have clear sun. And a lot of times I check my weather app to see the difference between whether the app shows partly cloudy or sunny. And you can see that right here, that right now is the perfect time for me to go outside because there are clear skies and it's partly cloudy. It's not partly cloudy, it's fully sunny. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to go outside. Okay, so I have just left my apartment, but I'm really just right up the block. I check on the sidewalk, like where is there sunlight? And I just find it and I stand there. So I am about to go ahead and just take some pictures. The sun looks best when I angle it from up here. So that's most likely where I'm going to be angling my phone while I take these pictures. And that's pretty much it for the taking picture process. I would say just take as many as you feel are necessary. I like to take as many as I think are necessary for me to take for me to have 5 to 6 options. Sometimes I get it in 10 photos, sometimes I get it in 200 or 100 photos. So I'd really say just be prepared to be out there and experiment with smiling, not smiling, smizing, all of those things. But yeah, this is prime sunlight and the time is a little before 4 o'clock. I am back. I know I showed you guys a little bit about the process of taking, or like what I do to find light. Haha, hashtag find your light. A word on actually taking your selfie. You want to clean your selfie camera. You can clean it. It doesn't need to be like, you know, a whole process. Just grab a tissue, a paper towel, a cotton pad, even maybe a clean shirt or your shirt or something like that, to just make sure you wipe it off. It's dirty, and even if you think it's clean, like one more clean can't necessarily hurt. So that's something that I really recommend. After I've taken all my pictures, and now I'm going to show you guys how many pictures I was able to take. And there were a lot. I've gone through and already favorited some of the ones that I like, but this just goes to show that I take a lot of pictures to give myself the option. Sometimes you'll come back and be like, oh, I didn't really like the way, or like, oh, is that really the best? So I like to make sure that I take a lot of pictures. Cool. So now that I've gone through and favorited, this is where we go through the editing process. And the editing process is something that I do typically on Lightroom. So I start off on Lightroom because I like to apply my presets. I start off on Lightroom also because once I take my pictures on my phone, all of those selfies automatically download to Lightroom. So there's not like I'm necessarily having to upload the pictures that I like one by one. I can still see everything all together. The preset that I use on Lightroom is the Brown Sugar preset by Mark Evans. Highly recommend her presets, especially if you are someone of a darker complexion, because I really think that those presets do us justice. So I am in Lightroom. Unfortunately, Lightroom doesn't really show me the pictures that I have favorited. So what I do is just scroll through and see, is there any one of these pictures or any one of these type of pictures that stand out to me as something that grabs my eye. And I think I like the way this smiling one looks. So I'm just going to take a look at that and now apply my preset. And right off the bat, you see it's like really enhancing my skin tone. This is just the type of picture that I like. So if you're someone who likes a different vibe or different whatever, like you can find a preset that works for you. So I play around. I don't necessarily do any more editing. I just play around to see. I don't know if I necessarily was in love with that picture, so I'm still gonna go around and just look for the one that may be right for me. Okay, this one's not bad. Let's add the preset. Okay, not bad at all. I'm gonna go back, check out a couple more, and just play around with it. I kind of like smiling ones, which is rare for me because a lot of times I don't really like my smiling pictures, but I think other people like my smiling pictures more, if that makes sense. So I figure. Okay, so playing around with that. Let me see if I can find a non-smiling picture. Okay, this might be one. Okay, just add the preset and keep pushing. Now the preset is just the first level of editing. A lot of times I'll go back and adjust it, which you'll see, but I like to just add the presets to the pictures first because then it's easier for me to tell which pictures I'm working with. So for example, you can see that this picture right here is the one that I have applied the preset to. So then when I go back and want to edit it, it's easy for me to find and I'm not scrolling through like, oh, which was the one? I'm sure there's a way with Lightroom to figure out like, or to favor or star certain images, but I don't necessarily know how to do that because I'm not a pro. So I just like to apply presets to certain images. I like this one too. Yeah, I do like that one. I always have my hands on my head. I like this one because of the background, because of the courtyard I was in. I like this one because of the smile. Yeah, that's probably got the best angle of the sun. So I think I might go with that one, or I might go with this one. Ooh, that's a good one too. I think I'm gonna go ahead and choose this picture as my selfie taking picture. So now we're gonna go ahead and edit this one some more. Okay, so the editing process, after I have added my preset, I play around with it a little bit. Sometimes I might play with the temperature if I think the temperature was a little bit too hot or a little bit too warm. So I'll go to color and just play around. It's starting off at 17, just play around with the temperature. So obviously this is what it looks like. That takes away the sun effect that I actually really like. So I don't want to go too low, but I might like it at 10 instead of the 17 that we were at before. So this was it with around 17. And this was it if I move it to maybe 13. I might just stick with 13, yeah. Just decrease it a little bit so that it's not too much. Cool. So after I do that, sometimes I play around with the exposure. Sometimes I might up the whites if there are a lot of whites in the picture. So my teeth here. But for the most part, this picture, so this is me playing with the exposure. Yeah, I might want it a little bit brighter, just a tad bit. And that is, I think, the extent of the editing that I'm going to do in Lightroom. I don't like to play around in Lightroom too much. I might also just add a bit of detail, not necessarily. Actually, no, I'm gonna wait to add the detail until another step. So that is probably the extent of the editing that I'm going to do in Lightroom. I export that to my camera roll. And then that photo is successfully exported, and I'm going to move on to another step. And that is editing in Facetune. Yes, it's not the worst thing in the world. It just cleans the picture up a little bit. So I open Facetune and go to my recents. I have a lot of recent pictures. And this is what the photo looks like. Now for Facetune, sometimes I stick pretty much to the retouch. Actually, for this one, I think I'm just gonna focus on smoothing. So I've opened the smooth tool and I tap it. This is Facetune 2, by the way. Because once I tap it, then I can adjust the strength of the tool. And a lot of times I like to keep it between 60 and 70 because it's not going to do that much. Regular Facetune or Facetune 1 doesn't give you the option of decreasing or increasing the strength of smoothness. So that's a bit of a downside. So now I'm just gonna go around places that have the most texture, which are my forehead, and just tap. And on my chin, on the cheeks, and just tap it really, really lightly. I don't want to take away too much texture because I want to look like a human being, but I think that helps clear things up. Also keep in mind, like this is not the strongest smoothing, or like I've already decreased it to about 70. So even if I did go lightly, or even if I overdid it, I would be able to go back. So that's what it looks like now. I'm gonna tap and show you what it looked like before. Really not that much of a big difference, which really is fine to me because I like to have pictures that are somewhat natural. I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to, because I don't have the patchwork or the healing tool, I'm gonna move to Snapseed. I'm gonna use the healing tool on this little scab here. Okay, not bad. So I might do that as well over here. And that essentially took away my main pimples on my face. I still have some texture here that I can work away if I really wanted to, but it's really just a game of going back and forth and seeing what you want. I truly think, like, obviously if you get close enough, you'll see like, oh, there's a blemish there and there's a blemish there. You can get rid of it, but like, I'm not gonna edit away every single blemish. And that pretty much is it for Snapseed. So I export, but when I do this, you can either save or save a copy. If you save it, it'll modify the actual picture. So I think I'm just gonna save a copy just so that I have every stage of edits saved. Once I do that, sometimes, and this is only a sometimes my last step is to go into VSCO and increase the detail. So I'm going to import the photo. I might just go to, where do I go? Sharpen, and I might sharpen it a little bit. Obviously, I don't want it to be sharpened too much because that pretty much undoes all of the smoothing texture work that I had done. But I might sharpen it a little bit. But actually for this picture, it may not be incredibly necessary. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I also may sometimes just mess with the contrast, but I'm also not going to do that here. So actually this VSCO step was totally not necessary for this picture, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So this picture, this is the final look. We went from this picture to this picture. And of course I use an app such as Unum to organize my feed and to put the pictures in a certain order. For the most part, that's the extent of my editing, and that's how I edit my makeup selfies. So I would say go to my Instagram to see the final picture that I posted, if it was this one or maybe a different one of the ones that I took. And once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what other types of videos you want. I'm still like trying to figure out what my focus on YouTube is going to be, whether you guys want some law school content, some makeup content, some editing and blogging content. So let me know in the comments what you thought of this video and what you want to see from me in the future. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.